Never say die. What comes to mind when you think of death and dying, grief or loss? Awkward. Man, can it be uncomfortable? I mean, nobody likes to be a Debbie Downer. Or do they? So gather around, friends, for a friendly PSA. We live in a grief-phobic society. Megan Devine, who is a grief expert and therapist, has said, "We don't do grief very well in our society. We don't talk about it, we get uncomfortable around it, and in some mind-twisting way, we think and we hope grief will leave us alone if we just pretend it doesn't exist." But that's not how grief works. To be grief-phobic means to have an aversion or discomfort in grief in general, towards grief and mourning in oneself and in others. And in a grief-phobic mindset or society, there is a tendency to avoid, minimize, and dismiss the expression of grief because it feels uncomfortable, overwhelming, even socially awkward. This has led to a culture that discourages open conversations about loss, death, dying, divorce, sadness, and emotional pain in general. Instead, pushing an agenda of hurry up and get better. Prove to us you are back to normal so I can feel better about your loss, so I can feel more comfortable. We live in a world that loves to fast forward through pain. A world of magical pills and one-size-fits-all cures. We celebrate strength, resilience, and bouncing back, often at the expense of authenticity and intimacy. Here are 19 ways to literally never say die. Passed away, gone to a better place, resting in peace, no longer with us, departed, we lost him, she went home, kicked the bucket, met their maker, crossed over, at peace now, left this world, took their last breath, went to sleep, bit the dust, pushing up daisies, slipped away, lost the battle against, or transitioned. On top of doing literally everything we can to avoid saying die. When someone loses a loved one, instead of giving them space to express their feelings, we often say platitudes like, "Oh, they're in a better place now. Oh, you'll be fine. You're so strong." Or my least favorite, "Everything happens for a reason." These are well-meaning words, but what they do is dismiss the other person's pain. We rush to fill the void with these platitudes because their grief makes us uncomfortable. We'd much rather say, "Can we skip to the good part?" instead of sitting with their discomfort and knowing that there is nothing we can do to make them feel better. Never say die. If you have a never say die attitude, it means you don't give up or get discouraged no matter what. People love a never say die attitude because it describes people that just don't quit. This mindset reminds me of a very related one called toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is the idea that no matter how difficult a situation is, you should always have a positive mindset. This is one of the most misunderstood parts of personal development. There is a time and place for positivity. There is a time and place for mindset and mental discipline. And wow, are those things so, so important. There are also places where positivity and looking on the bright side just don't cut it. In fact, they undercut it. And the trouble is that grief isn't something we can think our way out of. It needs to be felt, expressed, acknowledged, held. It needs space and to be witnessed. Consider dropping trying to cheer them up completely. Instead, create a space where they can express their emotions without judgment. Let them cry, let them be angry, let them maybe even feel lost. Listen and help validate their emotions. The most powerful thing you can do with a griever is to simply be with them as they are. Practice saying things like, I am here with you. I believe you. This is so deeply hard. As counterintuitive as it may seem, the cure for grief is in feeling and being in grief, allowing ourselves and others to feel so we can heal. If grief makes you feel awkward or uncomfortable, it's an opportunity to get curious about why that is. Grief presents a profound opportunity for personal growth and connection. By allowing ourselves to be present with the discomfort of grief, we expand, in turn, our own capacity to be with hard things. And by leaning into the discomfort, instead of leaning out and looking for the fast forward button, we can deepen our relationships, practice empathy, and authentic connection during someone's darkest days.